Hi, I'm Farah, and this really is the roundup. I said that last time, but then I got distracted building this ship. So this is the very last roundup of the expedition, and I've no idea if anybody will be online, but I thought I might as well stream it to add to the other ones. And people can always watch it back later. Um, so this was the ship I ended up with. I changed it a little bit. Probably easier in the build mode to show exactly what I changed. So I changed the... Oh, my volume's a bit high. Sit back a bit. I changed the front to manage to get that in there, and I managed to get the landing pads underneath what looks like the hubcap area, and I got rid of the bit in the middle, and I put a wider sloping part there to make the hubcap kind of go up and then slope away. And then I did the same here, and then I put a couple of reactors on top. I wish there was some slightly different reactors, or we could change these colors, because the light blue doesn't quite work. But it'll do. I like the glowingness of them. Don't think I changed anything else apart from that area, except at the back here, where I put these engine covers on to get a bit of a round section at the back. I suppose theoretically I could put some bigger engines on there instead of here, just to kind of have a round engine on the back here. But I sold a lot of engines in order to buy the parts I needed to finish off, like these bits here and the reactors and just a few of the parts I needed to finish it off. The putting these here does mean that I get a slight bit bleed through, but not enough to really worry me. So I've got these two brown parts coming out into the hab, but I can still access these containers, which is great. So that's fine. And so overall, considering it's a ship built in an expedition save without really many resources, I don't think that's too bad. I'm quite happy with it. So we'll take it out for a spin. Oh, I know what I haven't shown. I managed to get the cannons in nicely into this projecting area here. So it's just kind of hidden away almost. Slightly projecting out, but not in a way that really distracts. And I like the fact that the light is coming out the top. So you can just see the light and you can just see the nozzle coming through. And then you can't really see it there, but that's not too distracting. We'll have a look at that when we get outside into the sun. So I have all three of these on so I can test how fast these cannons actually are, because they've all got rapid fire. So I have three of those modules. It's quite a lot. Sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. If we go into here, where are the modules? Oh, there. One, two. I haven't got all three of them together. There's another one there. So if I move that one, actually that is the right weapon. So if we move that out the way, put that there. So we have three here. It's possibly not the most efficient block. We haven't got an awful lot of space to play around. I can't help thinking that maybe across here, but I can mess around with that at my leisure another time to min-max it. But that's got all of them in a block, so that should be the maximum damage these things can do. Obviously, it's only a C class. I haven't upgraded the ship. Upgrading the ship really would probably take a while. I might continue this save a bit like I did Titan and do a few streams on how you can make a save effective. Camera mode. everywhere I went yesterday to try and get a photograph of this, there were huge non-photogenic asteroids like those, where you can see the lines in them. I didn't really want the pictures with those up there. So there we go, nice metallic red, because it kind of looks cool on this ship. And it goes with the decal, the Expedition decal. So red and gold, 19 on there. Should have put that in yellow really, but white is kind of more traditional colour to go on a ship, I guess. And so the cannons are just sitting in there quite nicely. They just project out with the lighting of them. And if we go underneath with the lighting, then yeah, it is sticking out a little bit, but I can live with that. Could possibly put a base part on that, but I haven't got any base parts here on this save much because I haven't really been doing things like that. Actually grabbing salvage data would be a pain. So yeah, that's not too bad. And of course this is positioned slightly into there, this part, into this section, by budging it along a bit using a glitch budge, as was this part budged in a bit. So it's all a little bit more compact. Just makes it look quite nice. And then I think the ultimate build, as I was saying, I think the ultimate build of this particular ship would be to change these little double engines for a big thruster on that round cover. I think it would make it look more balanced. But for now, I'm sticking with this because I'd need to get a few more parts so I can swap them. Because that bartering system is really mean. It really burns your parts every time you try and swap things. So you end up with many less parts and less things that you can swap. So yeah, so that's the ship. I think it's reasonably nice considering. And my first glitch built ship. Some of this stuff was a bit tricky getting in the right places. That also needed a bit of glitch budging. And this needed a bit too. But the rest of it's pretty normal, I think. I don't think there's anything else glitched on there. And then, so this, no, that's not the right one. So that's the rapid fire. It's quite nice because you can, if you're lucky, you can get a photo of it firing and it's not too far away. But every time I'm going to do it now. No. But these actually look quite interesting because they're kind of little beams of energy with a blob on the end, so they look like they're spitting fire. So it's quite a nice weapon, really. I've never really played with this weapon. So really, I want to take this into a mission. But to round it off before we do that and see how effective the weapon is, and it was pretty effective before it put 3 on, so before we do that, I'm just going to pull up what happened when I finished the expedition, just as a completion's sake, which I've got running on a video in the background. So if I pull up, this is why I've stayed in this just chatting screen as well, because I'm just going to talk through it. Where is it? There it is. So we ship landing in the background. So once the community section was finished, we could go back to this. I think it was still saying data loss to start with, so that's what it was saying. But then we can upload the anomaly definition, i.e. the definition of the anomaly, so that it can reset itself and stop the sentinels firing at us quite so badly. And then it says everything's restored. Obviously it's getting back to normal. The station core resumes its regular functioning, etc. Data fragments detected, and I think it's trying to work out where the problem came from. Now, it says here we upload the orbital uplink blueprint, which made me wonder if we were going to lose it, because we have a blueprint that we got from that early part of the expedition, but I still have the blueprint. And then it says everything's functional and it finishes. I think then I do a bit of running around, but you'll have to excuse that. But yeah, the orbital uplink is a very powerful piece of technology. And I was expecting them to take the blueprint away at the end of the expedition, but they don't. Now, I know that some people that are playing it from another save and going into the expedition from the terminal in the anomaly are saying that they can't take the blueprint back. Well, they can't. It's not they can't take the blueprint back, because obviously they wouldn't be able to take a blueprint back. But they're saying they can't take the built item back. They can't take the actual uplink back. So that's interesting. So it feels like they are trying to limit it. What I want to test once this finishes running, which is, I go backwards and forwards a bit because I'm making saves, but once this finishes running, what I want to test is whether or not the item can actually be given to somebody. Now that I'm getting a bit stuck because I did have a gun just underneath here. And so that gun is still pushing through. They said in the experimental they'd stop that happening, but they haven't. So where was I going? What was I doing here? Was I going into the anomaly? No, I was just going into photo mode. So I'll skip out of that because that's finished now. So yeah, I want to go into the anomaly. We go back into normal now. That's better. I put it into multiplayer, which I'll do once I'm there rather than when I'm flying in. And see if I can just... Have I got one before we actually go there? That's not it, is it? Yes, it is. That is it. I think it reuses another icon, but slightly colours it differently. Now, I don't necessarily have to give it to somebody. I can just see if it allows me to, but I might just hand it off to someone and see what happens. I'm not a big fan of gifting in the anomaly, but if I'm just handing off one of these, that's not a major issue, I don't think. But in the meantime, I do still have that blueprint. So I can build... I haven't tried building it, though. Maybe I should get some chromatic metal in a bit and test that it does work. I don't think I've even got any copper, have I? Well, I've got some cadmium I can put in the refiner. Where did I put my refiner? Over here. There it is. There should be enough to build another one. Yeah, so I can still build them, even though I'm in normal mode now. I'll go and stand over by the Nexus, and I'll turn multiplayer on. Network. So people are wandering through. Let's first of all see if it even gives me people. Yes, it does. I don't want to interrupt them because I can actually crash people. I think that's the person standing there. It is. Maybe I'll just ask if anybody wants. Hi, Ignition. I excuse it a bit with this one. I was very, very frustrated with the bugs in the last update, just because I felt like they weren't being fixed in a rate that really worked for me. Let me just see if I can give this person, because they're looking in my ship. That's a bit of a hitch there. What am I doing? I want a quick transfer. Yeah, sent it. So we're going to have people handing these out almost certainly, because we can make huge numbers. I don't know if they were in their own ship that just happened to be superimposed on mine. Yeah, where was I? I was a little bit frustrated with the bugs in the last update. But this one I can understand it, because it just impacts so many things. So many parts of the game and the systems in the game are impacted by this update. It's a very, very ambitious update. Updating settlements wasn't ambitious. It was just long overdue. This is really ambitious. This is changing the game level of ambition. So I'm all for that. If they just keep working on the bugs, iron them out. We're the playtesters now. We just have to tell them all the bugs we find. There's no point moaning about them. Just send them a list of what bugs we find. And more importantly than just telling them what the bugs are, we should be telling them exactly how they occurred and when they occurred. And if possible, even why they occurred, so that they can fix them more easily and identify what the problem is. Because they don't have the budget for like a whole huge team of quality assurance managers or people like that. They're I mean, they do have money, but they would be burning money if they did that kind of thing. They need to preserve money for promoting Light No Fire. So that's my ship. That was the Roundup from the expedition. We've discovered that we can hand off this orbital uplink to people, even though people are having difficulty bringing it back from the expedition. So it will be now available in normal saves if people just build them and hand them off to people. So the last thing I really want to test is how good this weapon is. So again, what I'll do is I'll go back to a outlaw station. Oh, that was handy. A yellow system outlaw station straight away. And just, well, that hatch should shut when it might even shut at the end of this, I think. Yes, it does. It does remind me, I'd like to test to see if we're still getting a blank screen at the beginning of the warp. Well, beginning of warps. So after this, I don't think it's going to be a particularly long stream. I think the I'm going to let that run through, because otherwise it's just going to bug me every time I warp or otherwise. Otherwise I'll get it all the time. So let's turn the log temporarily to exploration. And to be honest, I mean, I have experienced some of the bugs, but some of them, it's like people are saying that it's a bug that there's not a teleporter in here. It's like, no, it's not. It's not a bug that it's not in here. They just haven't put one in here yet. They may never put one in here. We may be moaning about it forever. The fact that they took them out of the other one, out of Abandon, they had a teleporter in there and they took them away, to me suggests that they have no interest in putting them in these. Let's see. Hunt and destroy a pirate. Seize goods from traders, I was thinking slightly more difficult. And we get a forged passport, which can't be a bad thing if I ever play this save. Well, that's not my ship. It's a red ship with side wings. I almost ran towards it then. But yeah, we have to do a lot of legwork in an outlaw station, but you know, they haven't installed one. It's the outlaws. They didn't take over normal stations. They ripped everything out. Stopped me enjoying the expedition. I mean, the expedition wasn't the best expedition in the world. It's a little bit tutorial. But I think it's a good idea to have a tutorial for them, for these Corvettes, to help people understand just how big a difference this makes to the game. Because some people are like, oh, it's just a new type of ship. And then some people are like, does this make all other ships redundant? And then other people are like, hang on a minute. If you can do this, you can do this. And if you can do that, you can do that. And they're realizing just how big an issue it is. It totally changes the game. It almost gives people that are more established players a leg up if they wanted to start new saves, because we know how quick and easy it is to get these as older players, more established players. And therefore, we can fast track the game. Not the most maneuverable of ships. Especially as it's still a C class and I haven't put any maneuverability upgrades in. Making very short work of these though. These are not easy ships to fight. If you don't believe me, go and do one of these missions. They're some of the hardest enemies you can fight in the game is if you do this mission. Feels like the civilian ships that defend the freighters are kind of mercenaries and very tough. It's not really a freighter, it's more of a frigate, but I think it calls it in the... It just says trader starships, it doesn't... Particularly rich outfit of traders carrying a large heavy cargo of organic piping. Yeah, so it doesn't refer to them as a freighter anyway. So yeah, if we can do that mission with a C-class ship with maxed out cannons that easily, then I would say that these do kind of make other ships redundant, because when I was testing them the other day, my main consideration was how fun are they to fly. And I don't think these ships are anywhere near as fun to fly as fighters or solars or interceptors. But how effective are they? Well, if you've got the expedition reward, you can make a cannon that just tears through everything. Well, you would have to have the expedition reward for that. But yeah, they are, because you get extra modules for everything. Then yeah, they are a bit OP. But then they're bigger. You can hang technology off of them, which is what we're doing. So it makes sense. It's an interesting twist and turn to the game that they have a new way of adding modules to a ship. Well, yeah, I mean, this busted everything. Bang, 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 dead. Bang, 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 dead. To be honest, the phase cannon used to be like that. I mean, they have rejigged this game a number of times, and I used to play, when I first started playing, I played in the late, well, middle to late era of Beyond, when I first started playing. And I very quickly got an exotic in my main save, which I've kept because it's a lovely little exotic. I like the little tiny ones. So I got that. I maxed it out. And I basically used to use the phase beam as my primary weapon because it was really, really tough. They didn't have shields back then, but it was really, really tough, and it was fun to use because you'd have to aim and you'd have to actually hit them, and you could do like sweeping moves as you shot, so you would catch them, and even if you just caught them, you would knock loads of health off of them, so you only had to hit them once or twice. Nowadays, obviously, the phase beam is more of a draining weapon, and you wouldn't really use it as your main weapon. And it's not quite as tough anymore. So they're kind of just rebalanced the game a bit. Didn't really want to come back in here. What we got in this? We've got salvageable scrap there. I might just, for the sake of making this stream a little bit longer than 27 minutes, I'll just go and get some salvageable scrap using the scanning method, I think. There. That's not what I want to do. I want to go that way. Mark that planet. Which one is? Not that one. It's that one. Is that a moon in front of it? I was looking at somebody's mod the other day where they actually they've done planetary rotations. Very interesting. I might have a little look at it at some point. It's not completely there yet. They don't move the points of interest, for instance. Things like that can get a bit weird, but so if you took off and went back again, the point of interest would be moved and things like that. On normal difficulty, phase beam and rockets is all you need, I guess. Well, mainly. I mean, rockets, if I was doing that mission I just did with the traders in a pirate system, outlaw mission of traders, I would have real difficulty with just a phase beam and rockets on an ordinary ship. Because they just keep recharging their shields. So it becomes a bit of a stalemate. You shoot their shields, you switch to rockets, you hit them, they get a bit damaged. They get behind you, they recharge their shields, then they start fixing their ship. And you just go around in a circle. And unless you're really quick in knocking one out, it can take forever. Phase beams are not the weapon they used to be, in other words. But yeah, you can still use all weapons reasonably effectively. Nothing's that tough in this game, as long as you've got a bit of skill to back it up. And we're still in the experimental branch, and in this experimental branch they seem to have turned off planetary collisions, I think temporarily. So I'm going to have to... Oh, it's also a... It's also a relic planet. Didn't notice that. So I'm going to have to try and aim somewhere where I don't go straight through the terrain. Oh, I just turned my... I think they're trying to work out why we're having that problem in space, so they've turned off a lot of the collisions. What's that? Oh, it's a space station. We can see the memory stones. I was wondering if we could. Do I agree that combat's the only thing holding it back? Within reason. For a start, I think a lot of the people that moan about the lack of combat don't do the hardest missions and don't realise which the hardest missions are. But secondly, I feel like they never want to make the game completely inaccessible to kids. I think it's got a 9 rating these days in the UK. It used to have a 7. So it used to say ideal for 7-year-olds. Now it says ideal for 9-year-olds. I think it's probably... 9 seems a bit older to me for this game. I don't think they ever want to make it a more adult game. So if you really tweak the combat and make it... Like, for instance, ground combat with NPCs, you're suddenly into, okay, what's the rating of this game territory? It's okay when you're fighting bugs, but... And when you're fighting faceless robots, we can call that cartoon violence. As soon as you start shooting someone that looks human, then they start saying, oh, it should be a 12. Also a problem for monetization for YouTube. For a game that doesn't deserve to be a more adult game, or a more mature game is probably the better word. It would be a pain if this was suddenly considered a mature game and YouTube said, oh, you can only advertise to 12-year-olds and above or whatever. I don't even know if they've got that kind of gradation. I think they would probably start saying you have to be an adult to watch these. So it could all get very messy. There are considerations beyond that of the player base, put it that way. I can see where they're coming from. They want a bigger challenge. They want more combat. They want more combat focus. But you have to be careful how you implement it and what you do. For a game that is partly aimed at kids. But don't get me wrong, I would like to see more granular combat. I'd like to see better space combat again, but they have been tweaking it a lot over the years. It just gets better incrementally, so people forget what it was like before. They don't and they never really make a big thing when they change the combat. I'll often go into the game and think, oh, that's changed. It's like this current, what appears to be a bug with the Sentinels. Not everybody's going to notice that because they're not fighting Sentinels all day long. Is this a bug? I think it's a slight bit of an exploit. It's an exploit that I'm happy with and I'm not going to worry about. If they ever take it away, I won't be upset, but it would be a bit of a shame. I mean, Everything's an exploit if you're using it a lot for mainstream progression. I don't think they will take it away. I think this is part of the point of Corvettes, that you can do these interesting things if you just think about what you're doing. It's a quicker way to find things on planets without having charts, for instance. It's not just for salvage. Is it a bug that we can shoot through the ground at them? Possibly. There's been a bug with salvage, with all types of salvage for ages, like salvage what's the other one? Salvage scrap. That you can pick it up through the ground without actually digging. I have a feeling that might change at some point, and if that changes, this will change. We'll have to get out of our ship, which just means it will take a bit longer. So I wouldn't be upset if they took it away. But while it's there, I'm exploiting it. I don't have a problem with it. Especially if they're going to give us such mean trading. I think I'm going to have to get out of my ship for this one anyway. I don't seem to be able to... When there's a lot of stuff around them, you don't seem to be able to shoot them. Let's get out. Get that one. It's not 100%. I mean, if I was really min-maxing this, I wouldn't get out of my ship here. I'd just carry on. It might have actually shot some of it. It just was taking a long while because it looks like it shot the outer casing. So if I'd have been a bit more patient, I might have got it. Hi, Alphys. I didn't think anybody would actually be online today, but I'm glad to see you all. Yeah, so it winds me up slightly that you don't have to dig for salvage scrap, that you can just pick it through the ground. And if they ever fix that, this will stop working as well, I imagine. But they're similar to the being able to just harvest the pearls out of clamshells underwater without actually opening the clamshells. We used to have to shoot them, obviously. And now you can just go up to a clamshell and pick the pearl out without actually opening it. If they ever fix that bug, I suspect it will be the same bug. Is it even a bug, though, is my question. Or did they... A bit like they seem to have turned off collisions for autopilot. So if I go through here... I think it'll just go straight through this. Let's find out. No, it's going over again now. I think there's definitely changes to the way the collisions work, because I went straight through some terrain the other day. Let's see what happens. I won't be too fussy. But yeah, the fact that they're messing with collisions and they're changing the way that space debris works in the game files, because my mod has stopped working. So they must have changed the data structure. So I think they're experimenting at the moment. And I've always felt like some of these things, like the ability to pick scrap through the ground, is a bug fix that they haven't got round to fixing the main culprit, but that fixes it temporarily. And I don't know what the bug fix is. I don't know what, but there's something that doesn't work very well. And turning off certain collisions for picking things up is fixing it. But they're probably work through whatever those other things are, and then they'll turn that all back on. But that's just speculation. But that's what I would do if I were them. So you haven't finished the expedition yet, Alphys? Well, I on this stream, the main reason I jumped into this stream was to quickly show how I finished my ship up with what my ship looks like now, and then also to wrap up the expedition and answer those final questions. So, which I've done now, which is why I'm just kind of chilling. I'm just collecting scrap parts. Because one last thing I might do is change the thrusters. Was I able to turn almost completely around then? Salvage data was the one you could pick through ground. They patched it. They did patch it. Oh, I think it's been back for ages. Let's see if we can find some salvage data to test. Shouldn't be hard. I'm only seeing scrap now. There's some. Very technology module. It's there, even if I can't. I'm just slightly out of range, I think. See, the skydiving thing is not that consistent either at the moment. I haven't got any jetpacks. Will I die? Oh, no, I didn't. I've got 12 health, look. Is it 9? I can't remember what the maximum is now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. It was 12 years ago. I don't know where that number came back to my head from. Yeah, they did patch it out at one point, but I think they were forced to turn it to revert it, because I think it probably broke something else. Look, easy. You can take it straight through the ground, as long as it's not too deep. And as I say, I reckon they patched it. Something else broke, so they did. It's not so much a bug reversion as that they just reverted that patch temporarily while they worked out what the hell to do. It's been back months and months, or probably over a year. But if they change that, if they fix that now and there's no other knock-on effects, no other repercussions, then I think that'll stop us shooting salvage containers through the ground. The crash freighter one, you do still have to. I mean, no, you don't have to dig right through it. It feels like they've made it a bit smaller, the gap for like containers and crash freighters. At one point, you hardly had to dig anything out. Now you do seem to have to dig it out a bit. And I just dig them out anyway. I'm just in the habit of doing it, so I don't worry about it. But no, I was going to jump out. I didn't need to jump out. What am I doing? Which helmet am I wearing? Probably the Wayfarer's helmet. It's one of my favourites. Oh no, this is the new one. This is the new spacefaring one, whatever they called it. I just kind of really emphasised the colour on the visor, so it looks a bit different, I guess. But because this is the Expedition save, sometimes I just leave something on my character so that I recognise immediately if I load into a save which one I've loaded into. That's true, not. Skyborn, is that what it is? It's similar to the Starborn, isn't it? Because of Star Citizen. It's very, very on the nose. It's like they might as well have called this the Star Citizen update. Or Sean eats Todd's lunch update. I don't think Sean has forgiven Todd for saying, "Oh," when he met him at the Game Awards when they were announcing Light No Fire. Apparently, Todd walked up to him and said, "Oh, you're the Joe Danger guy, aren't you?" Which obviously was a bit of a joke, but it's also a bit of a barbed joke, if you ask me. I need to get a different angle. Yeah. So I'm the Joe Danger guy, am I? Let's see how you feel. Coming for you, Todd. That's odd. That was just sitting there, not moving at all. I was thinking, is that some new plant that looks a little bit like that creature? And then it moved when I went up to look at it. So, if I had a neutron cannon, I'd be shooting this through the terrain. Oh, I do have a neutron cannon. Of course I do. It might be too deep even for that. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. No, it was... Again, the casing's gone. I just need to be more patient. Oh, it might be that one where it's not letting me finish. Is it because I parked too close? Or is it because my inventory is full? That's what we speculated yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it looks like my inventory's full. close enough to my storage container. That's handy. This is like one of the game changers. We're near our ship. We've got the teleport module. We can now teleport stuff directly to our salvage containers from a planet, no problem. We've got 3 salvage containers in there. If you wanted to get stuff out of a different container, you could just swap them. You don't need all of them. You can just like delete that one and change it to the one you want. It's not the that's the part. That one was a refiner. So yeah, I think that's a huge games changer. That's available very early on. You can get these ships almost immediately. Oh, I miss Grabnaut. Oh, hi Grabnaut. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a cozy, just kind of chatting and collecting salvage data stream now, because I've done what I was going to do, which was show the finished product of my ship and show the ending of the expedition. Whoops, I left that too long. Oh, and have a look at this gun. I had a quick look at this gun. Took it into a battle and wiped the floor with the enemies from the outlaw traders mission. Because this rapid fire of this gun and the damage it's doing with full modules and 3 Deadeye cannons, all with fire rate +7 and heat dispersion. It's just ridiculous. It's overkill. Yeah, I don't really speed run the expeditions deliberately, at least. But what I do when I run them the second time is use the lessons I learned from the first one. And if they don't fix those sentinels, I'm definitely going to try and get a sentinel pillar early on, so I can just forget about the fighting the sentinels. Because apparently you can just use a sentinel pillar and disable the sentinels. And it does pop the... You don't have to do it the way I did it. Obviously on a stream that would have been the most boring way, but... And it was far more interesting because I actually ended up dying, so... What I do for my people that watch me, eh? Such a martyr to the cause. Are you talking about Grabnaut was doing push-ups for the expedition? I saw your notes on abandoned mode, Grabnaut. Thanks for the tips. Because I did really want to know about fauna, so I need to... Because that is my main way of getting nanites. And I'd want to do exploration, really. I don't see it as a purely survival thing. I'd want to do lots of exploration with it once it's no longer vulnerable, which it is at the moment. I really did feel like I was so rusty. I mean, you could see I nearly died twice in that thing. Once almost properly, and then the other time was that, oh, that's how you die. And that was with keeping my excitement levels as low as possible. I just get a bit gung-ho in high difficulty modes. Oh, it even told me how many infantry shots were required. That's interesting. So for those that missed it, I did find out that we can hand orbital uplinks to each other even once the expedition is over. Apparently people are having difficulty getting the uplinks back with them from the expedition if they do it through the terminal. So they tried to close one loophole to stop people getting them in normal saves. But what they haven't done is stop people getting them in normal saves if someone just kind of save edits a load in, or if, like me, they did the expedition in a new save and then sat and burnt through loads and loads of resources just building a load, because they're not exactly expensive to build. So I will imagine that we're going to see people handing out stacks of 100 of them in the anomaly very soon. When people work out what they are. Never quite got a bead on it. Gonna get a bead on it still. Not quite. Yes. See, I got a radar dome. So they put those in the game now. They just seem to be non-existent. I'm not sure if they were just rare, whether I was just very unlucky. But I wasn't getting them at all. So I'm pleased to see it in normal. Put these in storage as well, because they're taking up more space than anything else now. Be a bit of a pain getting them all out, but they haven't changed the unlimited multi-porting from the terminal once you scrap the multi-tool. I would like to stock up on some void. Well, they haven't. I mean, I can test it, I suppose. I don't know if I've got that much money, but I guess I will have in a minute. So I keep getting loads of those treasures. What's the free curious deposit? Alright, this will be the last one. We'll go up to the space station, sell a load of stuff. Maybe trade for better web boosters for the back of this ship just to finish it off completely. Oh. Didn't put my glasses on again. Oh, I have got them here though. There, I can actually read the smaller print. I do have a tendency to put the HUD as small as possible. I bet that... Is that pixelating for everybody? I bet it is. So I really want to do this in a pirate station. Yeah, I imagined it would be quite bad. It's because they've changed the data structure, and I would have to decompile the files locally to find out what the new data structure is to rebuild my mod. And it might not be worth doing because I think they're in experimental mode, literally in the experimental branch. I think they're trying things out and they might change the data structure again. So until they're in a settled state in normal, I don't think it's worth me spending all that extra time and effort trying to find out what the data structure is. But as soon as I've got the data structure working, then I'll change my mod. The mod doesn't even load, which makes me think that they've just totally changed it. Well, I'll try and go into the... I only realised halfway through, but I'll try and go into the inventory screen. I don't think I'll be warping very far now anyway. It's a pain. And I know you're quite sensitive to light issues. That's why they really, really have to change the strobing in the ship. Like when you're trying to build in the ship, you suddenly can get real horrible strobing. If you're light sensitive at all, it must be really nasty. I think I put most of the valuable things into my storage. And I haven't got the matter beam, so I'm going to have to use Y. No, I haven't got the... Probably not close enough. Do I have to be in the ship to do that? Let's try it here. I've got the wrong thing. No, I think I'm going to have to do it in the ship or manually. What am I doing? Going all over the place. Yeah, that's better. So we can get to them. So, transfer items. Y. It's a bit of a pain. Maybe I'll do it manually. Are they going to be in this one? No, they're all... Oh yeah, there's one. Probably sell the trade goods even if I'm not in the right place to get a bit of space. No more space. Let's go and sell. Oh, I suppose I could swap some for now. Let's not swap the parts because I'm going to have to get those back out again anyway. Put all the basic things in there. Oops, wrong one. Sell those. Where's my door? There it is. Sell. Don't need to worry about pricing for that. Don't need to worry about pricing for that. Anything in my starship I can just get rid of? Yes. Might need that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Oh, so I've got one there. Didn't spot it. It was the starship, wasn't it? Yeah. Anything else? I can get rid of that C-class module. C ignition. Thanks for popping in if you're still there. So. Oh, I was going to see what happened. How many minutes did it take to get the weapon back? If I were to buy it, have I got enough? Probably. No. No, I have. There's nowhere near. That's not very much at all, is it? How long was it taking to refresh? See, I have a feeling that things like that, where like suddenly we can redeem as many multi-tools as we want, could just be because they knew there was an expedition and they wanted to stop, because they knew it was very, very space station focused and people might be looking at the cabinets. They knew that there's a possibility you could just keep all the cabinets empty, because you can keep, every time somebody new comes into the system and joins the instance, for want of a better word, then it can make sure that cabinet stays empty, and it just means nobody can ever get a multi-tool. You meant from the expedition terminal at the anomaly? Oh. So which multi-tool? Any of them? I think wasn't Gravnaut, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Gravnaut, but weren't you saying that you were also seeing that cabinets were refreshing really quickly as well? I'm not going to go to the anomaly now. I just want to finish off this. I'll check the cabinet in a few minutes anyway. Let's see. Copy a multi-tool into the expedition. Redeem it within the expedition. Make it your main multi-tool and go back to your main save from the expedition. You can claim the multi-tool from the terminal in the main save. Well, yeah, you always could. Oh, I see. You're just saying... See, I thought you were talking about something else. Whereas what Grabnot was talking about was these normal cabinets were restocking. "24 hours." Okay. Well, 24 hours, it's not too bad, I guess. I wish if we did this is if Hello Games ever do watch my stream, because we sometimes think that they're fixed things that only I would moan about. When we do that and send it with the Y, then the next time we open it up, that should stay there, because that's where we're sending things to. So it should stay as default for at least a few minutes, and then only refresh once we go out of our current thing we're looking in. It's just daft that you have to do that every time. So it's quicker to just pick it up, put it in. So the quick menu system isn't the quickest system. That was much quicker. I couldn't have done it that quickly. See, I'm not the only one that finds it annoying. I'm going to change that multi-tool, otherwise I'll might suddenly go to use the multi-tool. No, it's not the one either. Maybe I should just scrap them both. Which one was it I was using? Should tell you the class on here. Oops. So it's not that one. Must be that one. There we go. I think I had some more in here. I don't seem to. I must have put them in there. Nope. So they overflowed into here from the first one. Okay. I've come over here as if to sell things, but I'm not selling things. I was just going to put stuff in there. Right, so current build of my ship, if you weren't around, I changed it a little bit. I changed this, I put a side wing on here. I changed this a little bit so that it now swoops, so it comes up and then swoops down, so it's not just a hubcap, it's like a more tapered off hubcap. And I did manage to put these things underneath here, so that works nicely now. So that is technically under a hubcap area, and then this is tagged on the side. I put these on top. I mean, they're okay. I wish we could change them to red. There's so many things that we can't recolor that just are frustrating. And I chucked the decal on top and put number 19 for Expedition 19 on it. And I put the cannons just tucked in here, so they're the lights poking out the top and the muzzles poking out the front, and you can see the lighting just out the top. But other than that, they're nicely tucked in there. And the only problem is that there's very slight bit of foot protruding out, but it doesn't really detract too much. So I'm okay with that. I could have tried to budge it, but I don't know any quarter budges yet. I'm pretty sure there are some. Someone said there was one. If I could budge it slightly further that way, then I would probably do it, but I don't know how to. So the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to see what it looks like with proper thrusters on here, because I added these on the side and then rounded it off onto the bottom. So that's my current. I should probably continue and have a look, see what I've got. So I've got, see what I want is that one. It's quite large, but I think it goes on the end of those round things. So I want to test it. Kineo Stream Thruster. I can probably sell that. So the style of storage container changes with the style of habitation module they're built in. I'm not quite sure what you mean. I mean, the way you access them depends on where you're standing. That's... So we can access it from there, but we can't access it from outside the ship. No, that wasn't the right place. Well, we can access it from here. It depends how close you are, I reckon. What they look like. You just mean the model? I mean that. Oh, you mean like the different habitations? Is that what you mean? Yes. Yeah, all the styles change. I just really like the Ambassador style, so nearly everything I build is Ambassador, because it reminds me of Alien. They're actually all based on other franchises. I'm not sure which way around it is, but one of them's a Star Wars theme, one of them's an Alien theme, and one of them is a Starfield theme. So I want to try and get those thrusters. Let's see what we can sell for those. Ah, don't want to modify. I don't want to get anything off of there. Yeah, leave workshop. Let's see what the basics are. Just make sure it's not a basic. We could be searching for it for ages if it was. Nope, it's not. Engines. So it's that one we want. That's a different scaffold. I haven't seen that before. I think that was one of the ones that people said wasn't available. That's the one that's not available yet, isn't it? I think it's greyed out so that we know. Low for a cockpit? Are you kidding me? How expensive are these things? Yeah, we don't want that. Don't want the vents. Yeah, that'll work. So it's always the same. I don't know if it changes from station to station. I doubt it. But if you get a success, you can do the same thing. Unfortunately, I didn't have 2 of those thrusters, so I can't do the same thing. But I did use one small vent. I put it there. Positioning does matter, but I don't think it matters. I think it's the combination of positions. I don't want 3 rock hoppers. That's not going to do anything. I don't need any of those. Just going to try putting it there just in case I can get a bargain. Nope. So what can I swap? One of these? See, this is just so mean. It's so... You go and get loads and loads of parts, and then you find them hard to swap for. Gone. The Thunderbird cockpit. Hang on. If I click on that, I can actually read it a bit bigger as well. There's something really stupid. The Thunderbird cockpit has a literal grill under the pilot seat, and you can like actually see the ground below you. Is that a problem? I think you need more expensive tech, and often the things you're trying to buy are more expensive tech. I think that's all it is. It seems to be based on value. And some things just seem to be very expensive. But we don't know the prices of these. Actually, we might be able to look at the price of it if we look in here. I don't think it tells you a price. No, it doesn't. So we've got no real way of knowing other than trial and error. I bet in the save files it gives you a price. In the game files, rather. So I'm running towards my ship because I'm thinking of editing my ship. So if you're... modify. So I'm going to delete these off the back. I'm going to... Yeah, so that... Look, it's not going to snap there. It's the right size, but I'm going to have to manipulate it to get it to sit there. How am I going to do that? That's a pain. Right. Just in case it sits on the corner now. No, it doesn't. Let's put a hab there. You want the vent. Where is it? Right. Now, yesterday, this was really playing ball. When I went after the stream, I was putting these links around this, and I could put them in so many different places. So look, that's effectively a half jump up. That's effectively a half jump down. But there were other places as well. So there's like... That's just a half bump along. You can do almost everything with this one piece. So we want to go somewhere diagonally, if possible. I know I did a sideways motion with this the other day, but I don't know if it was with that. I don't know if it was with that different joint. But I did a half sideways. Maybe it wasn't that part. Let's try the other one. That one. So we need to copy that. Put that there. To try putting on the side as well. That might work. It's not going to play ball today. I did a nice little side step. Right, I'm going to try to put it on the side. That's a side step. So now we want the thruster. And it sits on there now. We shouldn't have to be doing these kinds of things. I mean, I like glitch building, but it's not accessible to people. It's frustrating that we have to. I think even this I needed to manipulate to get it in there. Let's turn that upside down. Doesn't snap on there for some reason. Why doesn't that snap on there? A joint of some kind. It was there. Where are the engine covers? So all the rest snap okay once you've got that one in. X, and then rotate, and then that way. Except that's not lined up, is it? It goes into the engine. It's annoying. All right, I'm leaving that for a bit. So we want to have on here. decided that that's the best one, but put it on the side. And then ducting joint. And that's only half. Right, I need to bump that forward for some reason, but not sure why, but let's do it. Let's do it with the old-fashioned way. Where the parts are. There it is. That's not the right one. It's the little one. That not quite there, so we need to put it there or there. Is that right? Yeah, there. One way round. Now I'm wondering if I can put a block under here and sit it. Let me just see what snaps to that thing. Yeah. If we so we could get under there and snap it, but that would be too low. Oh, it's not the right way up anyway. Hang on. We want that. So can we push one into there? My bet is we can't. No. So we're going to have to take that out again. Put the other one in first. And then hope this snaps. Because if it doesn't, we're messed up. This doesn't look like it's going to, though. No, that is right, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I've got that one there. Oh, I've got that one around the wrong way. That's why. Darn it. There's no logic to that. Let's see what I'm doing. That way up. That way round. No, not that way round. The other way around. Yeah, so it's that way round. That's correct. But this isn't going to snap in there. It snaps in that way. So maybe it will if we turn it up. Yes. Okay, it will work. We shouldn't need to be doing this. Yeah. Just let me snap that then. That wouldn't do that on the other side, I didn't think. Well, this works, then it'll be a lot easier. That's the right way up. Can't even see the thing. Where are we? So we want to go that way, then rotate it. It's not snapping in. Making a meal of this, but done. I'm sure I could have done that a lot easier if I'd have just focused a bit more. So red, no, red gloss. Yeah. That one. That one. That one. That one. And that one. Yeah, I'm beginning to think that higher ones are easier. Feels like we're crawling around underneath the ship all the time. Wonder what that looks like if we make that weathered. I could make, because it's an engine. So now I don't think this is the right part. It needs something different there. But maybe it doesn't need anything there. Maybe all it needs is like a small booster on the side, which I haven't got two of those. I haven't got two of those. I do have two of those, but I just used them. But they were down lower, so... But then I'm thinking to break up some of that thing, if we went into ordinary build mode and put something like a light bulb fitting on the back here. Let's see what that looks like outside. No. Every time I go for my hotkey. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. It looks better balanced with the larger thrusters. I'm not sure about the smaller ones, but they'll do while I'm trying to work out what to put on the back. Other than that, I think it's quite nicely balanced. I did put one of those air purifier parts there, and I had a hatch here, but the hatch, it didn't let me climb up it because this part is half onto that area, and it just kept getting me stuck. And the only way I could do it is if I sloped it the other way. So I mean a mirror image here. Like how would I do it? Sloped it kind of like that from as we're looking at it, and which was really awkward to get on and off. I think I just made the wrong movement then, but never mind. So I couldn't make a hatch, so I might just put one of those back on there just to make that area less boring. But apart from that, I think we're done. It's just this little back area. How to tidy up what are effectively like exposed parts, like these that doesn't really illuminate it very well. These exposed metal parts here, and possibly here if I take those engines off. They're just a little bit exposed. I'd like to put something there, but I'm thinking ordinary build parts would probably work. Just something to break the space up a bit. It looks nice, yeah. Definitely looks smart. I haven't got the stealth stuff on it yet, I don't think. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I like the purple. I don't think I've got many salvage data. The other thing is, why, now that we build from our Corvette storage, I don't understand why the it doesn't put all the parts back in then. It would be a lot easier now. Now that they've finally said, okay, you can build from it, you can put it in it. And when you delete stuff from your ship, it should just put them back in there. It would be easier. Maybe people would lose them and wouldn't know where they were. They'd get confused, but it wouldn't take long to work it out. So I don't know. Got no salvage data there. No salvage data. I think I've got a little bit in my containers. I don't know if I've got enough to buy any light bulbs. Nine there. None there. None there. Before we leave, I'm going to have a quick look, see if that cabinet's refreshed. I doubt it. It's only been like 40 minutes or so, is it? No. But I'll definitely check back at regular intervals. Let's remind ourselves where the we switch to our glyphs thing. I can always come back. So you can probably take a photo of that on my end. Yep, that's done. Let's see how much it would cost. I don't know if I want to go salvage hunting, but I'm also wondering if the guns might be an easy way to glitch things into place. I'll show you if I go back into a space station. I've got multiplayer on because there are some builds that have got so many parts, they're just crashing people's systems as people land in the anomaly. So I'm not going to leave that on for now. Especially massive numbers of build parts. It's like the tendency for people to immediately get mods that say, oh, we've got no build limit. It's like, yeah, great, you can build a huge ship there. What does that do to everybody's performance? What was the weekend mission this week? Does anybody know? I can look, can't I? It'll take me 30 seconds to look. Rescue stranded life form. Oh, the most boring one. Does the weekend mission come up in the Corvette? I don't think it does it? It's a Quicksilver mission, but I don't think it's a weekend mission. What are good lights to try out? These are quite bright. Have they fixed this yet? Keep looking. No, they haven't. Still haven't reported it myself, so I doubt that's their highest priority, but it is a game impacting bug. I don't know if I change to 1080. Quality immediately goes down. No, it's not even working there either. Nope, that one. Let me just open a window a second. That's a bit cooler in here now. Changes the lighting. I've got a bit of an odd chromatic thing going on with over my shoulder, but I think I can live with that. So I can't go into build camera mode. Something like that there. Break it up. Or we put that in there somehow. Got no color changes on that one. I'd have thought I can make that blue, but I don't seem to be able to change the colors. I'll just put a few bulbs on here. I haven't got the sodium. Probably do in my storage container. Now, out of interest, people were saying that adjacency glitch is broken. So I'm just going to double check if it really is on here. No, I haven't. It would help if I had two parts that could actually build. That's not broken. That's fine. I wonder if they mean adjacency scale glitching. So that's scalable. I haven't got the sodium. Alright, got to get the sodium. That glitched. That glitched. That's fine. They've either fixed it or there wasn't a problem. I have a feeling that they fixed it though, because the trouble is I'd need to turn that around. If I wanted a larger bowl, I would have to try and cycle axes. What is it? Right. No, that's not it. I think I might need to go into first party mode here. Just check some gun cabinets, then they're empty. That bug was probably patched with the last update, or they reset all those timers and save files for that patch. Now they're working again. Cheerio, Alphys. I'll be going shortly, and this is kind of the last interesting element of just whether I can do this or not. So you're not going to miss a lot. I think that's... No, that went small and it didn't glitch. So I wonder if they're... I wonder why that didn't glitch. We just did that fine outside. Oh, because it wasn't green state, was it? How do I make that green state then? Like that. Well, I've got a blue glow, but it must be inside there. I thought it might, because it was inside the... There it is. Yeah. I probably would need to put something on the outside first, like a poster. And then lantern. Rotate that way. Maximize. Adjacency. It's still gone inside. Must be penetrating through. I suppose I could make that as small as possible and leave it there, and then rotate it now. Is that definitely on the outside now, or is that still penetrating? All right, we're going to have to put a light on the outside. Just put it there. That's not penetrating. So can that sit on top of it? Yes, it can. And then we do that. No, it's still penetrating through. So we're going to have to put a light on top. Yeah, blue one. We can't size glitch that one. All right, last attempt. Yeah, we do it that way. No, wrong button. Where did I put it? Just up on the outer edge. And pick that one up. Can't delete that like that. Take that engine off. I often do the wrong button there. Sometimes I wonder if that's how we're losing parts. And there. Copy that. Come on. 1 pixel down, not 2 or 3, just... It's like you try and move the mouse just the tiniest amount. Have to use lift the mouse slightly off of the thing to make it have no inertia. And then I have to put the mouse down carefully. Press the button without causing inertia. That'll do. That'll do. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I think it looks better than with the engines on the back. It's a little bit better balanced. Right. Well, I think that will be the end of the stream, I think. I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve. I don't know if I'll ever use this save again, but I hope well, I'll keep it for now, and it might be something to experiment with Corvettes if I manage to kill myself in my abandon mode, but let's hope that doesn't happen. I got my... No, I haven't got keys on here. So, travel well. Goodbye for now. I've been Pharaoh. See you later.